night tonight here. I was 2 nights here and saw some of my movies met very interesting people. I live in California, in Palm Springs, and New York has changed. Oh my God, so many cars. It's amazing. Yeah, but I go back tomorrow, and the hotel is nice that they have their own cinema. And this film you're going to see, Nicoletta Krevitz, I call her Coco. We are friends since 30 years or longer, and she sent me an email which I put in an envelope, and she wants that you will hear what she says.
I'd love to be where you are right now. I wrote Udo's part and then shot AEIOU just to spend time with Udo, so have a good time together. Udo plays Michelle, the friend every woman would like to have, and I count myself lucky to call him my friend. Udo traveled from Los Angeles to Berlin during the second wave of Corona, so basically he risked his life to be in this film. Without Udo, I would not have done the film. Udo revives the beauty and the bloodshed of good old West Berlin. He embodies the wild, the bold, the disco. Having him in this movie lifted everybody and everything up.
The film you're going to see is, of course, a love story.
The mic's working.
Doesn't work. Yeah. So it's a love story between a woman not so young anymore. She meets a student, and they're having a love affair, which is where you will see very, very interesting story, and is a good film. And I'm the owner of a house where she lives in, and we're very good friends. So she comes for a drink, and then she tells me all her new story with her new young lover. And I give some advices because I'm older. So that is the film shot in Berlin. It was in competition at the Berlin Festival last year. And Coco made a very, I don't know if you have seen that, she made a very, she's an actress, and it's her second film. And she made a very interesting story which was in competition in Sundance about a young woman living in a kind of strange 50s building, high-rise. And when she comes home, she lives alone, and she comes home and there is a wolf. And she starts feeding the wolf. And then more and more they become friends. And then she takes the wolf home and lives with the wolf. And the film is called Wolf. And that was her first directing. We made together, we know each other longer than 30 years. And we made some movies together. One was like All the Queen's Men with Matt LeBlanc, and other international films which were shot in Germany. So that's all I can say now. I mean, I want to say also to you, thank you very much for inviting me here. I mean, showing so many films I did over the years, and I had a great memory, wonderful, when they showed Dracula by Andy Warhol present. And when you're an actor, now I'm 78, when you're an actor, and then Dracula was 50 years ago, and then you see the film, and you see everything, your ambition and the film was Dracula. I'm talking. I go back to we shot it in 3 weeks for $300,000, which is nothing for a movie. And so that was, to see all the movies from Bacurau, and they're still showing, I think, 10 days more movies. I could not stay here 10 days, I would be depressed. Seeing my life, I would go say, give me loads of whiskey. but it's nice, and again, thank you for showing all this good selection from Bacurau to Fassbinder to Christoph Schlingensief and all these people. Somebody coming? Yes? I know. Just they have rats in this hotel. Yeah. My roommate also is trained scratch. Anyway, enjoy the film. It's a very nice, sensitive love story, and nice seeing you. Enjoy. Thank you.
I'm Cosmo Bjorkenheim. I'm a contributing editor at Slate. I was invited to do this Q&A. I'm very excited to speak to Udo, of whom I've been an admirer for a long time, as many of you probably have as well. So we're gonna have a conversation, and we'll take some questions from the audience. So, Udo, it's been a pleasure spending some time with you today, and I quite enjoyed this film. I watched it a few days ago, and can you just start by telling us a little bit about the genesis of the project? Mitchell read the letter from Nicoletta at the beginning of the screening, and it sounds like you were very central to the even the writing process of the film, and that it was written, the part was written for you, and it sounds like you and Nicoletta have a working relationship that goes back quite far. So can you just talk a little bit about the genesis of this project?
Well, hello again. Oh. Nicoletta is actually an actress, and we know each other longer than 30 years, and we made a few films together. As I said, she was an actress, I'm the actor. And then she made a film which was very well received 2 years ago at Sundance, called Wolf, and a wonderful story about a girl living in a kind of a very not so sympathetic high building, and in front of her house is a park, and there's a wolf. So she starts slowly feeding the wolf, and one day she decides to take the wolf home, and she lives with the wolf. That was her first film. That's the second film, and as she offered me the part, and as we are so long and good friends, I liked it because I play a good friend of the main actress. She tells me everything, and I'm the owner of the house, and so that is the story which you have seen.
And you appeared alongside Nicoletta in another film some years back called All the Queen's Men with Matt LeBlanc as well. What was the experience like of working? Also, I've heard you mention a few times that you categorize your movies into three kind of distinct categories. You have 100 movies that are bad.
No,
you have 50 movies. Wait, did I already?
Long story, let me tell you. No, when journalists they say, but Mr. Kier, you made 250 films. They're no more than I do. I'm not counting my movies. And I always say the first reaction, yes, 100 films are bad. I don't even remember some of the directors. 50 films you can watch with a good wine, and 50 films are good. And if you can say that as an actor, I mean, I worked with Lars von Trier 30 years, Fassbinder, Wim Wenders, Herzog, Gus von Sant, Guy Madden. I'm a lucky man. I worked with good directors, and I have never asked in my life a director, I would like to work with you. Because imagine if I had dinner with David Lynch and Isabella Rossellini, but imagine if I would say, David, I would like to work with you, and he would say, who doesn't? I would go under the table. But that's why I say I'm a lucky man. I met people all over the world on festivals. I met Gus von Sant in Berlin at the festival, and he came to me and said, my name is Gus von Sant. I have a little movie here at the festival, which I made for $20,000, but my next film might be with Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix, my own private Idaho, and I have a part for you. And I said, directors feel lonely at festivals, and then they offer you something. No, but he didn't feel lonely, and we start writing each other fax. It's a long time ago. There was no cell phone and internet and all, but we wrote each other letters with a fax machine, and I made sure that I was very romantic writing my letters with an ink pen, you know. So then he got me the work permit, and from the member of the union, and I came to America, and I liked it. We shot in Portland, and I stayed with a girlfriend of mine, Anna, and I had already packed my suitcase. My suitcase was by the door with my ticket on top and some Kleenex. And she said during our last dinner, why don't you stay here? I said, no. After a few glasses of red wine, I said, not a bad idea. So now I'm 30 years in America. So, but all my directors, Lars von Trier, all I met like that. I was not casting, and so, and I like to work in movies. I never went to acting school, but I became a professor teaching acting without being to school myself. And well, hold on, I'm still talking.
Please.
A jumper. And so now I live in Palm Springs because I lived many years in Los Angeles, but it gets very aggressive. And Palm Springs I like because the women get younger every year, and the men walk behind. There's the restaurant, darling. I like it, and I like the desert. I like the desert, and there's no parking meter in Palm Springs, and the people are not aggressive. What did you want to say?
I was gonna. You were talking about how you didn't have a formal education in acting, but you went on to teach acting. We were talking about this before the other day, a little bit about your approach and your kind of methodology with acting, and something that strikes one as one watches your filmography is that you're a very physical actor. You have a very commanding physical presence, and you use your body a lot, and use the space quite well. I've talked to Jed about this before, about some programming decisions about the retrospective. Ace Ventura was omitted from the lineup, but to me, it's a great pairing of two very physical actors, Jim Carrey and yourself. My question, I guess, that I'm leading up to here is, who are some other performers, actors that you admire for the way that they use their bodies and the way that they...
Every actor has to use their body. I mean,
Sure, but some perhaps more ostentatiously than others.
Jim Carrey, of course, was one of his first films, and he is amazing. I mean, he's amazing. And comedy, for an actor, is the most difficult thing you can do, and you have to like your partner and talk to him. And when somebody like Jim Carrey made a joke, you have to know how long he wants you to be quiet and not react too quick, because then he would kill the joke. And I mean, people always remember when Courtney Cox came and said to me at my party, I'm playing a billionaire who owns the Miami Dolphins, and she comes in with him and says, may I introduce you to my friend, he is a lawyer. And I said, does your lawyer has a name? Or should I call him lawyer? And Jim Carrey said, that was funny. So that is, I think every actor used their body. I mean, how can you, unless you play a dead person, when you lie in a coffin. And then even then you maybe can still have an afterlife for a few seconds.
You've encountered and worked with lots of big personalities throughout your long career. You were telling us a story earlier about an encounter that you had with Leni Riefenstahl at her 100th birthday party, which was apparently also attended by Siegfried and Roy, which was a story that just blew my mind, filled me with terror.
You go too much ahead. You have to tell the beginning.
I'm sorry.
I was making a commercial in Las Vegas, and I stayed at the hotel, and I invited a friend at the hotel where Siegfried and Roy, they built that hotel for them because of all the stages going up and down. And of course, our actor went to the manager and says, could I leave a message for Siegfried and Roy? And they looked at me like, what? So I left a message, but I didn't hear anything. And shortly before the show began, I gave up, and then somebody knocked at the door, a manager, I didn't know it was the manager, but it was the manager, and he said, oh, Siegfried and Roy invited you and your friend to the show. And I was screaming, Wendell, come, let's go. So we went down to sit at the best table in front of the stage, of course that was before the accident, and I could smell the lions when they walked by. And then anyway, we saw the show, amazing show. I mean, these two people, they looked young, open shirts, and the elephant and the tiger. And then the manager came to my table and said, Siegfried and Roy, I would like to meet you. Can you come with me? So I went with them backstage, all the doors. And they knocked at one door, and the door opened, and they were standing there looking at me, and I went like, huh? Because the face, it was, plastic. That's why they call it plastic surgery. And I said, and we met, and then later, afterwards, there was Leni Riefenstahl. You know Leni Riefenstahl?
Yeah.
She was the one who made Adolf Hitler famous. Because, I'll tell you why. Because she was the first one, who put the camera in the ground. So that's why Adolf Hitler was always shot from below. And by the way, you can see me as Adolf Hitler in the TV show now called Hunters with Al Pacino. And I play 90-year-old Adolf Hitler living in Argentina. And the Jewish people find me, and then it's the big thing. There's 8 episodes, I'm in 6. and Amazon hunters. Yeah.
You've portrayed Hitler quite a few times, and you've, of course, in some at some moments in your career, you were occasionally typecast, and I know that you've portrayed other sort of unsavory kind of Nazi military characters. I think in Invincible you played one, in Iron Sky with Rob Zombie.
Because I'm German. When I came as a young man to America, saw in films, they didn't hire Germans, they had some American actors, and all they did, they were screaming, Achtung! Achtung! I said, oh my God, nobody talks like that. And I played Hitler a few times, but only in comedies. And when I played Hitler in comedies, I always was thinking about Charlie Chaplin in The Dictator, where he kicks the world. And then this time, about a year, 2 years ago almost, they offered me to be in the TV show with Al Pacino playing Adolf Hitler, but the first time serious. So I said no. Then I said no. Then I said maybe. And then I asked my Jewish friends, I have wonderful Jewish friends. I did ask them and they all said the same. I said, I have a question. Could I play that? And they all said the same. Does he still have power? Yes. Is he still evil? Yes. Then play him. So that's why I played, if it would have been crying all German in Argentina, I regret what I did. No. So I played Adolf Hitler first time in a serious way, 93 years old, 3 hours makeup every day.
One of those occasions was a Rob Zombie thing that was in the Grindhouse sort of compilation.
You don't have to talk to too many people.
No. But other there are plenty of other directors that you've worked with several times. With Rob, you worked a couple of times with him. With Christoph Schlingensief, you've done a couple of films with him. Dario Argento, you worked with several times. And another one, somebody I've wanted to ask you about is Uwe Ball, a director that you've worked with at least twice. I was wondering, he's a director that I find quite interesting, and he obviously became famous as an adapter of video game franchises into feature films.
Well, he had the title the worst director in the world. And of course I was fascinated to work with the worst director in the world.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? So we did Blood Rain with Ben Kingsley, Geraldine Chaplin. I mean, he got the people, and I played also in the movie, but not a bad character. I play a priest, different. And and he's a very nice man. And he brought something to the American, first German and then American film industry, that he collected money from doctors, lawyers, because they could write it off tax. So they didn't care if the film made money because they couldn't care, so they don't pay tax, so the money went. So he still lives in Vancouver. I haven't seen him for years, but I like to work with interesting people who are different. Why not? I mean, if somebody say he has the title the worst director in the world, you want to find out why.
Right. So was there anything to that rumor? I mean, in terms of his technique or his relationship with his actors, is he a bad director or?
He's a director.
Not said. Okay.
You don't say it's great. We all know that Visconti was great. There's a lot of great directors who great because they became famous. Mm-hmm. He didn't become famous.
Not yet at least.
I don't think he makes movies anymore. Uwe Ball.
Oh, is he retired from the business? Yeah, I mean, but perhaps, there's a critical reevaluation.
Doesn't mean they retire.
Right.
They just maybe he opens a restaurant.
Sure.
Who knows? German specialty.
So, some of your performances, or the films that your performances have been in, have undergone these critical reevaluations in the past, where perhaps they were misunderstood or dismissed or reviled when they were released, and then over the intervening years they've been sort of reevaluated. Like, for example, Johnny Mnemonic was universally kind of thought of as kind of like a ridiculous exercise by a contemporary artist. Well, I mean, the reviews weren't great.
I was
right?
in the movie. You call it ridiculous.
I was quoting. I was paraphrasing other critics.
I beg your pardon.
No. Look, I have to tell you, I have one movie poster in my apartment that's framed, and it's Johnny Mnemonic. So I'm a fan.
Criticizes in that way. You have to say, first of all, I made the movie because it was made by a very famous painter,
Yes, Robert Longo, yeah.
who had never made a film. And I have art of his on my wall. And I liked his work. And when he offered me the movie, and I did the movie. So if you never know, if there would be a recipe to make a successful movie, there would be only a successful movie, but you never know. You never know. If you make a film about destroying building and then comes 9/11, nobody is going to see the movie. They just have to watch TV and see the buildings coming down.
Right.
So you have to also see it that way.
Right. There are a lot of external things that can often impact the way a movie is received that have nothing to do with the qualities.
I always say it's just a movie.
Right. That I know that set was the set for. Maybe we don't need to talk about Johnny Mnemonic for the rest of the evening, but it's interesting to me.
Just because you have the poster on your wall.
Yeah, I'm biased.
What is the harm? Why you have the fucking poster on your wall? Why don't you have Sunset Boulevard?
Actually, I had a question about Sunset Boulevard. I've read in interviews of yours from previous interviews that Sunset Boulevard is your favorite film. There's some one of them, yeah. And there are resonances of Sunset Boulevard in some of the more recent films that you've done, like Swan Song, for example. I think you could easily find resonances between that and Sunset Boulevard and Aging Performer. How do you find Sunset Boulevard inspiring you in your career?
In my career, I mean, I never thought. I mean, all of you, if you have seen Sunset Boulevard, who can ever forget her coming down the stairs, being arrested by the police, and she says, "I'm ready for my closer, Mr. DeMille." Who can forget that? It was very clever done. Billy Wilder was just an amazing director. I mean, even Some Like It Hot. You know, it was just, you see, also the film you saw tonight, it's not a commercial film, it's a very nice story about what you saw, a woman with a young man. And there are so many films, and I did also so many films, as I said before, which at the end I didn't like them, but it is an experiment. I like to act, I like to meet people, I like to get involved in an unrealistic story. I mean, look, I was a very kind of little photogenic little boy, and I played Dracula, Frankenstein, Jack the Ripper, Dr. Jekyll. I played all these horror roles, and I'm a gardener. I rescue dogs. I mean, I'm totally...
You're a nice guy.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
The thing is, you know, it's like, I'm okay, I'm not... I think, you see, the thing is, if you're evil, You cannot, as an actor, you cannot play an evil role. It's too much. But I always say there is, I give you an example. I can have somebody at a table, somebody sitting there, and I say, I could take the gun and kill him or her. But also, my way would be, I clean my fingernails, and I say, if I'm done, I'm going to kill you. And then I look, people say, that was evil. Same thing, just a little delay of the killing. And that is the whole thing.
In AEIOU, a short history of, what is it? A short lesson on love? The title is long, sorry, pardon me. And Swan Song, your two most recent big performances, you've played, your character is not a vampire nor Satan. It's like sort of, these are perhaps more down to earth or relatable characters. Do you find yourself preparing differently for these kinds of roles than you do for the sort of larger than life evil characters that you've become famous for?
The film you saw tonight is, of course, I'm one of her best friends, and she is one of my best friends. So there's no play. There is just, we talk about things and we just do it. Swan Song, which was for me surprising, I don't know if any one of you have seen it. I got the best critic in 60 years for that film where I play a retired hairdresser who had a very good client, Linda Evans, played by Linda Evans. And she died and left $25,000 to the lawyer to give me in the retirement home to do her hair for the coffin. Then first when the lawyer offers me that, I don't like it. I say, bury her with bad hair. And then I think differently and I go back in my past. And that is the story of the film. But I like it. You see, as a small production. And in all these years, I prefer a low budget films because low budget means automatically not so many people on the set. And you can be more creative. If you do a film like I did Armageddon or Blade with, my God, so many people, it's very hard. Then all the actors, I call them trailer stars because they just talk about their trailer, how big it is. It has to call, it's too hot. And then you think, wow, my God, I must be a great actor. And then you go with them to the studio, and you have a scene, and you expect something amazing. And then comes nothing. And all I do is I look with my eyes to the ceiling, breathe, and go out.
You were telling me earlier that, or I guess it's well known that you live in Palm Springs. You live in a converted library, which was designed by famous modernist architect Albert Frey, right? And you're an avid collector of mid-century modern furniture.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to collecting and your aesthetic sensibility?
Well, when I came to America, in my first place I needed furniture, of course. And modern furniture, what today cost a fortune, you could buy an Eames chair for $40. Today you pay $1,500. And so I like modern design, and I have a lot of books about it. And I learned about Arne Jacobsen from Denmark and in America, and Saren, and of course I have a lot of Saren, and the man with famous arch, as he said. And I like it. It's my house, my garden, everything I wanted for me, not to impress people. So if I find the chairs comfortable and like them, that's why I bought them. I don't have to impress people, because these people who you can impress like that, they're not my friends.
Good point. Any questions in the audience?
Yeah, finally.
I know, I was hogging you all to myself, sorry.
Monologue here.
Yes.
Do you prefer horror fantasy roles, or would you rather do like what we just are working with Lawrence Martin Trier and just serious movies?
I beg your pardon. No, films are serious. I like. Look, it's very simple. Lars von Trier is my friend. 30 years. I've worked with him for 30 years. I just did the last episode of The Kingdom, and I don't know if anybody has seen The Kingdom.
The original Kingdom series is actually the first time I ever saw a performance of yours.
But, and I'm yes.
Just thought you should
How
know.
old you are?
Oh my God.
15.
So I'm showing my age.
And it was The Kingdom. I'm proud of The Kingdom because I'm the only actor in the world who was born on screen. And Lars built this enormous naked woman, the body of my mother, and I was in her stomach. And Lars said, you know, we cannot rehearse that, it's so expensive. I said, doesn't matter, just say the word action a little bit louder, so I can hear it in the stomach. So I was in the stomach, they shaved my hair, put blood and slime on it, and when I heard the word action, I tried to get out, I couldn't, and I thought, fuck. So I went back. I was lying on a piece of wood with 4 wheels. So I went back, and wham, I came out, and I just went like, wah! That was the day I was born. And Lars von Trier is, for me, one of the best directors there is. You showed me there, no? And the actors wanted to work with him, and everybody get the treatment the same. And then I remember when we made a film in Denmark, one of the last films, and we were sitting on a table in a restaurant, self-service, Lorne Bacall, Ben-Gazzara, James Caan, Nicole Kidman, Stellan Skarsgård, Udo Kier. Then Lars came up the stairs where we were eating, and he picked me first. He looked at me and his eyes went like, I said, no, not me today, not me. And then he went to the table and he said to all the actors in my film, don't act. And everybody looked, and one person, I don't say who, went with the shoulder and said, I don't act. And Lars said, what is the business with the shoulder? Why is the shoulder coming forward? So he's a great guy, and I'm happy to work with him. But you see, I like when there's a difference. When you have the leading part as an actor in a film, people follow you easy. But I just made a film not long ago, 2 months ago, a new director, and I'm sure I will work with him a lot. His name is Randall Moore. And there was one flashback scene with a party, very sexy, girls on the bed. And I had an idea in the morning, and I said to the director, can I talk to you? I have an idea. And I told him my idea. My idea was the most beautiful woman there. When she sees me, she takes her dress down. And 2 beautiful breasts. And one breast is a line of cocaine. And I $100 bill out of my pocket, and I roll it, and I go over her breast, and I look at her and I say, "You should be Snow White." And it's going to be, whoever will see that film, they will never forget that. They say, "Who's that crazy, is he German? Who's that crazy guy who took cocaine from a tit?" So that's how, when you play, I hate that word, supporting, it's a horrible word. Small part, I hate that word too. But if you have minimum time on screen, I am searching for something which nobody will ever forget. That's, and I find always little things.
Any other questions?
Yes.
I just wanted to preface by saying that you are my favorite actor of all time.
Why you say that? You want to sleep with me? Come on. Show me your body.
Maybe later. But I wanted to ask.
Sex, yeah, of course.
In Shadow of the Vampire, what was it like making a film set in that period about that era of German filmmaking?
Well, of course, I was a little jealous that I was not a vampire, Willem Dafoe, but he was a great vampire, and Markovich, a wonderful actor, and they were all very nice to me, and they took me out for dinner, and I learned why. Because they wanted to have my accent. Because they had to play Germans. So they wanted to invite me to some pasta and say, "So tell us what?" And I go, yeah, wow. Willem Dafoe, wow. And it's a good film. The director, I forgot, but the actors were great.
And like vampires, they just wanted to extract something out of you, which was your accent.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you play a German, you have to have a German accent and not an American one.
Did they impress you? Was their accent authentic?
Of course not. Because I was speaking with an accent, but not German.
Jokes on them.
Oh, some Dutch and some Hungarian and some Italian. When they wanted to know from me a very important line, in German I answered in Italian. Very, very easy.
Any other questions? Let's go in front here.
Did you find that your beauty kept you from being taken as seriously as an actor? And do you still is it still difficult now? Because
I'm still beautiful, thank you.
no, that's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah.
I'm 78, I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, usually, casting an older gentleman, but not looking for someone that still has, sex appeal. Like, so is that a problem? Was it a problem, and is it still a problem?
It was never a problem.
Okay.
It gave me, I was born end of the war, October 44, and another time I didn't remember, I was a baby, but it was there was even my mother, I was living with my mother alone. There was no food, I was a forced vegetarian, because we had all week long soup, lentil soup, bean soup, potato soup, and only every Sunday we had a little piece of meat, a green salad, and a pudding with strawberry sauce or something. And that's how I grew up, and I was interesting looking, definitely. And when people, women and men were looking at me, that made me kind of secure. And I went to England because we didn't have money in. What are you studying your paperwork? I went to England with the permit of my mother. I wanted to learn English, because we had no money that I could go to high school. So I went to London, and in London I jobbed, and I went to Oxford Street to St. Giles School, learning English. And then one day, a man, Mike Sarn, is he coming here?
No.
Mike Sarn, he was a singer, but I didn't know him. He came to me and said, I'm doing a movie. I would like that you play the leading man in a short film. And I said, how? I don't know how to do that. How can I do that? He said, leave it up to us. And first I said a few times no, and then I said yes. We went to south of France and we made a movie called Road to Saint-Tropez, and I didn't know how to act. So then I came out of the water in Nice, wet hair, black, green eyes. And all I did is I was looking where the camera is, because I didn't see the camera, but I didn't know about technically long lens. So I was just looking. And what I didn't know, I was in CinemaScope on screen that close. So when the film came out in London, they wrote a new phase of cinema. As a poor boy, I liked the attention when in the Western people say, you're an actor, right? Mm-hmm. I saw you in the movie. You liked it? Mm-hmm. So that, it started, and of course, when you're young and good looking, I mean, good looking is the wrong word, photogenic looking, it helps, you know. So then I liked the attention. I got a contract with America, with the biggest agency called William Morris, and presenting me worldwide. So I made films which became classic, like my first color film was Mark of the Devil, with Herbert Lom, great actor. And you see, I didn't know what acting was, but I was lucky that I worked with great actors, so I could watch them how they did it. And I never forget, in Mark of the Devil, one moment I was nervous. There was a dialogue between Herbert Lom, one of the best actors in England, and me. And the producer felt that I'm a little nervous, and he said, so he said, I give you a gold coin, and just keep that in your finger and trying to read what's on. When he talks, you don't listen. You just look at your gold coin and look what it says, and you will win the scene. I did, because he was talking and talking, but then you saw me, my face, looking at the gold coin and trying to read it. So it helped over all the years to work with great actors, and I worked with amazing actors. You know, there's a lot of actors, I forgot their name, but there is a lot of great actors. I'm a lucky man.
We had a couple other, yeah.
Thank you. I really liked this movie. I thought it was very, very good. Becquerel was interesting, but I was thinking about memorable roles, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit about your role in Dancer in the Dark, because it's so limited in terms of your screen time, but really so impactful for the movie, and also a performance for doing so much with so little.
I don't know what you're saying, but that's me. I mean, a lot of directors tell me that the most scary scene they ever come in, the most scary scene was me in Breaking the Waves. The man, the sailor on the boat, and it was just me. It's not planned. I'm not planning to be evil, because I always think that Satan was an angel who was tired of being an angel, became Satan, which was more interesting. I never plan anything or think I should be scary people. And if it is not important how much dialogue you have or monologue, whatever, it's the way how you just do it as most natural you can do it, and not being dramatic, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was just it stuck with me when I was trying to. Ace Ventura. There's certain movies that are definitely like in the subconscious, but that one was really.
No, but Dance in the
really-
Dark was. Björk wrote the story basically and went to Lars von Trier to ask him to direct her. And then Lars, we are very good friends. I'm the godfather of his first child. 30 years ago or longer, she's now has 3 children on her own. And, you know, when you have a good understanding, I mean, Lars von Trier asked me to be the godfather, and he said, not for the gifts, but, and you know, Christmas, birthday. He said, but if my wife and I tomorrow die in a car accident, you are responsible for my child. And I said, wow, that's a compliment. I've never heard that. In Germany, it's only gifts, whatever. So we are very good friends. And he sent me the script, and then he says to me, what would you like to play? Then I read it, and I know I cannot choose the main characters because they're going to be maybe Nicole Kidman, Ben Gazzara, and then I choose something which I think I could leave an impact. For example, Nymphomania, when Shia LaBeouf tells the girl, his girlfriend, to put the spoons in her pussy, and I'm the waiter, and I come to the table and I say, I'm sorry, did I forget to bring you the spoons? And I know the audience know where they are, so they're all going to laugh. And then I bring new spoons, and then I help her in the coat, and they all fall on the stone floor, and I just stand there. So it's nothing, but you know, it's something. Sometimes, I'm not done. Sometimes cameo or whatever you call it, a short appearance on screen is maybe more important than the main part. If you, as I said before, the scene with the cocaine on the breast, nobody will ever forget that. And that's what acting is also about. Yes?
I was gonna just take another question from the audience. This person over here in the back.
My buddy who just said you're his favorite actor.
You told me you were my favorite.
All right.
You said you are my favorite. You didn't say that your partner told me. You are evil. You're evil. You have a 10-month-old child. My God, poor child. Wow.
Well, you did a
Daddy.
you did a video.
Let's talk about it. Madonna. So I did with Madonna the sex book in New York. I had an agent, and said to me, there is Stephen Meisel, he's a famous photographer. They're making a book. We think it has to do with Madonna. So I went there, and on the street were 2 bodyguards. Bodyguards you recognize right away there. Suit is too tight, shirt is tight, and all the muscles. So I went upstairs, and the door opened, and there was a girl with no makeup, and Stephen Meisel said, may I introduce Madonna Udo? And Madonna looked at me and she said, would you like to do a book with me? And I said, what is the name of the book? And she said, sex. I said, yeah. Yeah. So we did the first section of the book, riding. She was in an evening gown, I was in a tuxedo. We riding on naked men in a club, and that was the beginning. Then I went back to LA. I got a call from her office if I would be ready for hardcore. And I said, finally. So I came back to New York, and I was in a real sex club. You know, when you went downstairs and with your hands, you had to go like now. Sorry. And I said, you have some water?
Yeah, I was gonna.
And I said to Madonna, how far can I go? And she said to me, do whatever you want. And you don't tell me that. So the first picture, she was naked. I lifted her up over the ping pong machine. So we did this session, and that was exactly 30 years ago. Because Madonna invited me a month ago to Florida. They had a pavilion in silver, like the sex book we made. And it said sex on one side, the other side said Madonna. And Yves Saint Laurent was presenting it, and the pictures, there were about 15 pictures blown up, 2 with me, very, very big. And they're bringing out the book again, and it cost, when the book came out, it was $41 30 years ago, and now it's $2,500. So, but I get a free copy. So I went there only for 2 days. Amazing. And I did also the videos with Nicole Smith. I like to do short stuff like videos, music videos. And Madonna called me and said, I want that you play my guru in the music video Deeper and Deeper. So I did with Madonna Deeper and Deeper.
Does that answer your question?
I was curious about this video called Dear Adler, where you turned into kind of a bird.
But that's my own video.
Oh.
I made that video. It's my music.
It was good music.
It's my music. I wrote it. I'm not a musician. I wrote the text. The music, somebody else. I mean, the notes. And I made that. And when I came to America for my own private Idaho, I told Gus that I was in Moscow and they singing, and they forgot. Why you whisper?
We got some.
Gives you a lot of water.
It doesn't matter. It looks expensive.
Only the best, you know.
Yeah, I know. I have them in my room. They cost a fortune.
We had one other question, I think.
No, I haven't done.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Let me get the water done. What was the last thing that you did? What you said?
Oh, Dear Adler.
Adler. So I told Gas von Sant that I was singing for earthquake victims in Russia, Moscow, and they forgot to give me the microphone. And it was playback anyway, but you cannot be in the stadium on stage and singing without a microphone. So I had like I have here now, I had a flash lamp, and I converted that flash lamp. The music started, I had to do it, into the light, into a microphone. So I was singing into the light, and then while I'm singing, I realized I could also put on red. So I was singing in the red light. And I told Gas von Sant the story. He said, do you have the music with you? I said, yeah. He said, can I listen to it at home? Yeah. So he took it home the next day. He came and he said to me, when you be in the hotel room with the boys, River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves, can you sing for them? I said, what do you mean? And he said, and you take that big lamp and sing with the lamp. And then I said, oh, the lamp is ridiculous. Anyway, to make the story short, I took the lamp and I was singing, sitting on the bullet, thinking of power every hour. Being in space, controlling the world with a different face. Berlin, New York, Moscow. I am the man behind the curtain, a genius of crime. So that was then the music in my own private Idaho, which, that's, things goes. Does your partner has another question?
You answered all of them. You answered all of them.
He's still letting it sink in.
Yeah. We're big fans of Duradler. We love
Thank you.
We love Duradler.
I think we had one more question over here somewhere. If
Well,
not,
well.
maybe that was already answered.
Where?
I saw a hand sort of, maybe they were brushing their hair, I don't know.
But they're waiting for you to go away.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. Oh, gentleman in the back.
Would he accept to work with Clint Eastwood?
Anytime. As a director, yeah, he's good. He's good. But I like that. Yes, and you see a lot of things, but you all don't know. All these people like Charles Bronson, Clint Eastwood, they became famous in Rome, in Italy, playing in Western, and then they came back to America, and then they were in Western here, all of them.
So Clint, if you're out there, Udo's expecting your call. If that's it for questions. Oh, yes.
How was it to work with Fassbender and Gabor Bodie?
Is what?
How was it to work with Gabor Bodie and Fassbender?
As I said before, because we're coming to an end, I start to repeat myself. I'm a lucky man, and I went to a film festival in Mannheim. It's a little town in Germany, very intellectual festival. And there were a man, and he came to me and said, I'm a Hungarian director. I have a film here I want you to see, and I would like to work with you. And I was with Fassbinder, and I said to Fassbinder, oh, this man wants to work. Hungarian. So I said, what? And then we went to the final night, the prizes, and I was sitting with Fassbinder, and then on stage they said, and the prize this year goes to Gabor Bodie. And I said, yeah, that's him. So he invited me to Budapest. It's the first time I was confronted with communism, and it was very interesting, very interesting. It's not like today, I'm talking about many years ago. And then we start making movies together, small ones, and then we made a film which he is showing, Narcissus Psyche. So then we worked together, and I worked also with the master, Miklos Jancho, made also film. So everything goes by accident. One more question.
All right, last question. If there's another one in the audience, yes.
Yeah. Did you have a fun time on the Dracula 3000 set?
Questions
What
about
was
Dracula
Dracula?
3000.
What was 3000? I don't think so. I don't remember, so it cannot be. It's not in part of my brain.
Lost to the sands of
I
time.
lost it in the sea. One more question.
Well, if there are no other questions,
I can ask another question.
You have the last one, yes.
All right.
Last one.
So you mentioned sometimes you never know if the movie's going to be good and you give it your all.
Yeah.
Is there a performance that you gave that you think is amazing, even though the movie overall might be good? Or a different actor that you think did an amazing, you know?
Well, it is, you see, movie making is so many elements of good text, costume, editing, music. There is so many things in every movie, unless you make a movie on your own and pull a camera behind you and go to the city. Now it's I just made movies. Some of them, I mean, there's, for example, a movie now. Somebody made a movie. I die 69 times from every film I did where I die. What is it called?
It's called Stage and Death. Was it Scream?
Yeah,
we saw it.
We
I
watched
haven't
it.
seen it.
Oh, yeah, we saw it.
I haven't seen it because I know, I always have to discussion with directors. I never want to die with closed eyes. So because it's boring. I mean, but I want to lie there, and I always make them a sign, a little red cross. So I have a point where I can totally fix on it. It's better than lying. And, yeah. But as I said before, I want to say, because there's a couple of sentences before you go home or have a drink in the bar. Chardonnay is not bad. But the thing is, you never know when you make a movie. And I always, I never been to acting school, but I became a professor teaching serial acting. And I always said to my students, I had only 7, I didn't want to have more, always said, talent is something you cannot learn. You can learn a technique. For example, the woman, my partner tonight, you saw, she's very famous on stage. She's a stage actress, very famous. So, but and if you want to be on stage, definitely you have to go to acting school to learn the technique, to whisper, but the people in the back row understand you. So, that's. I will continue. I have a few offers. Got one yesterday, amazing offer. The director especially came, I had never met him, came here from Los Angeles to meet me here, strange, and not there, where I live. And yeah, there's always, I always said, I just did the cover story for GQ. And it says, the article says, my headline is, I am a lucky man. And that's what I am. I'm a lucky man, and I didn't, things coming and going. There will be the day where I talk only to my palm trees I planted, when I water them and tell them stories from New York, how the traffic is terrible. And I go, thank you for watching the movie, and I will call tomorrow Nicoletta and I tell her that you like the movie, and that's it. Thank you very much.